have just a couple of stories for you on your Thursday, and be right back. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Spring with Autumn on your Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well out there. And I just have a couple of things for you. And I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. And if you're not sure if you're coming in or not, thank you so much for considering. And I will be right back. All right, so I did it again. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to say hello to Old School Media. Thank you so much for coming in. It's nice to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. And Taryn Herring, Jermaine G, and John H. Roberts Jr. Thank you so much for coming in. So if you guys can just give me a one for audio support around here, or what do they call it? The 5x5. If you can, just do that and let me know. I appreciate it. So I do have two things for you. I think one will ring a bell, and I don't know, maybe you'll see it the next time you go to a restaurant. I don't know. And then the other would be, it would be kind of a, looks like a bit of a response that some states, or one state in particular, has had to the current administration's door-to-door campaign. So we'll get into that, and thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Don't forget all the lovely things we plan to do today.
All right, thank you guys so much. So I assume that you guys can hear me since I have no extra feedback right now. I have no yays and I have no nays right now. So okay, thank you so much, Jermaine G. I really appreciate it. So we'll go ahead and start with the door-to-door liner. I hope you guys are doing well out there on your Thursday. It is. It's amazing how time flies, right? So I'm going to share the screen with you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we're going to go over to Arizona. And it looks like they have a message, or it looks like a response, I'm going to say, to the Biden's door-to-door strategy. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will give you the full screen on this. All right, so this is coming out of the Daily Wire. All right, so according to this, Arizona rebuffs Biden's door to door mocktail strategy, blasts the administration for, quote, severe breach of privacy. So this is, looks like penman here is Tim Pierce. And according to this, the Arizona Attorney General Mark Bronovich expressed, quote, great alarm, end quote, at President Joe Biden's plan to send teams door to door to promote the CV-19 mocktail to hesitant Americans on Tuesday, saying that the president's strategy may be a violation of privacy. Bronovich sent a letter to the White House Tuesday after the press secretary Jen Psaki said that part of Biden's plan to mocktail Americans involves sending officials in, quote, targeted, in quote, outreach, quote, door to door, in quote, encouraging people to get a CV-19 mocktail. Bronovich slammed Biden for Psaki's suggesting that the White House may have obtained the medical records of unmocktailed Americans. Quote, I, along with many Arizonans, was greatly alarmed by your White House indicating it might be in possession of medical records revealing the contact information of Americans who have not been mocktailed. If this is the case, this is a severe breach of privacy, and I will not tolerate such intrusions within Arizona, end quote, Bronovich wrote. Quote, Americans trust medical researchers and their family doctors to provide information and recommendations to make personal decisions, but they do not trust government intrusion or the politicization of the healthcare process, end quote. Bronovich continued. Quote, if Americans are on the fence about taking the mocktail, it would be inappropriate for bureaucrats to single them out regardless of motives or intentions, end quote. Biden detailed his plan further on Tuesday, saying that as mass Mocktail Nation sites dwindle, agents should be sent out into unmocktailed communities to begin distributing the mocktail, quote, door to door, end quote. All right, quote, we are continuing to wind down these mass mock donation sites that did so much in the spring. Now we need to go community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, and oftentimes door to door, literally knocking on doors to get help for the remaining people protected from remaining for the remaining people protected from the virus, end quote, Biden said. Quote, as we shift from these centralized mass mock donation sites, we're going to put even more emphasis to getting mocktailed in your community close to home, conveniently at a location you're already familiar with, end quote. Quote, it's a year of hard fought progress. We can't get complacent. Now, the best thing you can do to protect yourself and your family and the people you care about the most is get mocktailed, end quote, he said. Biden's announcement came after his administration failed to meet its mocktail nation goal by July 4th. Biden had previously pledged to get at least 70% of the U.S. population over the age of 13 mocktail by the date. By July 4th, 67.1% of Americans over the age of 13 have received at least one jab of the mocktail, according to federal data. Biden's announcement sparked a torrent of criticism online, as the Daily Wire reported. So you have a couple of those examples here. Rep. Dan Crenshaw fired, quote, how about don't knock on my door? You're not my parents, you're the government. Make the mocktail available and let the people be free to choose. Why is that concept so hard for the left, end quote. County Star John Rich had a different plan, end quote, FYI to any of Biden's missionaries who feel moved to knock on my door to push me to get the jab. I'll kindly invite you in and tell you about Jesus and make you listen to Ronald Reagan's speeches until dinner. If you're still here, we'll have a slow, full reading of the Constitution, end quote. Actor James Woods chimes in and says, quote, will you be wearing armbands, end quote. Radio host Steve Deese, quote, why do we need a mocktail passport system if they're able to go door to door to the unmocktailed? Doesn't that mean they already know? Oh, and come to my door and I've got 2 words for you, Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, that's getting a little bit interesting. Maybe we'll see. I guess it'll be. I guess it's going to end up being up to the states. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be, to me. It's just it's. We seem to stay in a loop of a loop of power, or a loop of the struggle here. The states versus the feds versus, who's gonna do what. And I think we kind of already know which way that, which way they're going to lean. The blue versus the red. It's just, it's what's been happening, right, from the very beginning. Whether it was however many days to slow the spread, to the mask mandates, to social distancing, and it's going to be a loop. I guess it's going to stay there. Oh, looks like we have some people to join the chat room. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you guys if you guys are new to this channel for any stretch, I do use the word mocktail around here, and it gets a little goofy. It gets a little bit cumbersome. So thanks for the leverage and the patience on that. All right. So it looks like everybody can hear me now. And we have Tyrants Bane TDOA. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And Joseph Francis Burden says, don't panic about the neighborhood mocktail missionary effort. Just be prepared. I plan on answering the door. Faking a high fever, a cold sweat, violent cough, and a disgusting tag and no mask. All right. Jermaine G. This is door to door to offer us. Man, you guys are bumming me out. You guys know how to cheer us up around here. That's my sarcasm there. I'm tracking. So Tyrants Bane TDOA says, Dan Crenshaw, the gun grabbing hypocrite who wants police to come to your door and take your firearms. An ex parte hearing. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. The thing about all of this is that for all the things that we could discuss, or that we, in my mind, I think we should be talking about, things that are, to me, that are of higher priority or of higher importance, or the imminent threats are the things that are so much more difficult to discuss on here. And this is not a pity party or anything for this channel, but it's just, it's social media wide. Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, I'm not a part of the team or whatever. I'm not on the team. So I don't know. I just try to stick around is what I do. But I mean, of course, we're going to probably get more videos and more propaganda is going to be pushed out, whether it be via TikTok, or it seems like TikTok is one of the biggest, has reached more people. I don't know the stats on this. Don't quote me on this. I wouldn't be surprised if TikTok hasn't reached more people in the last 16 months or so than any other platform, even more than YouTube. I'm not sure what the blackout rates are over there, but it just seems like, you're starting to see more videos and more accounts, I guess, on TikTok. But of course, because I think TikTok was the platform that was used to produce all of the dances and everything that were going on at the beginning of this of the demic, should I say. And that managed to reach people. You were able to get that out. But yeah, so I'm just saying, we cannot quite get into as many things as I would like to get into around here. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in. So I'm going to do just a tiny little break, and I'll be right back for the next segment. I'll be right back. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that like, unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn.
Don't forget all the lovely things we plan to do today.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I'm going to take us to our next liner, which kind of involves, to me, I think you guys remember the agenda on the whole rally or the campaign for the $15 an hour boost or in minimum wage. But it looks like North Carolina has another idea, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. So I hope you guys are doing well out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to share that screen with you. Let's see, who else do we have here? Thank you guys so much for coming in at the 11th hour. I know I was probably lagging a little bit, but I'm here anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and share that screen with you. I have some thoughts on this, but I will wait. I will save them until the end. Okay. So what you should see before you, it's going to be a liner that's coming out of the Fox 5, and it comes from Fox 5, San Diego.com, and it's reporting on a North Carolina restaurant that adds 20%, quote, fair wage service fee to every bill. Imagine that. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for you. And then we can maybe look at the article just a little bit. It's only about 1 minute here, so let me see if I can get this in for you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Uh-oh.
Employees return to work, hourly wages has become a hot topic. One Durham restaurant says it is now paying employees a fair wage.
But as CBS 17's Gilad Malamed reports, customers could be left with a bigger bill. She explains why from downtown Durham.
Nick and Maggie, it's called a fair wage service fee. Customers here at Pizzeria Toro will have a 20% gratuity added to their bill with this message on the bottom saying seen and unseen workers are the backbone of the restaurant.
The nice thing is it's just kind of knowing that no matter what, we're going to get a certain amount every time that we work.
For bartender Arturo Sanchez, that means a cut of the 20% fair wage service fee.
Make enough money to pay your bills and have a little extra left over week by week.
Owner Gray Brooks says some prep cooks and dishwashers had to work 2 jobs. He sees the fee as a way to close the wage gap between staff who traditionally did not make tips.
The restaurant business is just such a slim margin business. We were paying them as much as we could. And it wasn't enough. And this was a way to sort of take that extra income and spread it out so that everybody was making enough to make a living.
Sanchez already made tips as a bartender. He says closing the gap means he could end up with a little less some days, but it's a trade-off because he won't be shortchanged on an off night.
A little bit of a decrease in terms of what we're bringing home every day. That is going to be sort of mitigated by the fact that there is less of a stress and the knowledge that we're sharing those tips with employees all throughout the restaurant.
Brooks says he considered raising prices by 20% and getting rid of tips, but says he felt this was more transparent. The restaurant is not expecting additional tips. He says there's been some online pushback from people who say they wouldn't tip in the case of bad service, but that diners are mostly supportive.
The cooks in the back didn't do that. You know, they weren't the people. They're still working hard and doing their job.
According to MIT, the living wage for a single adult in Durham County is $16 an hour, more than double the current minimum wage.
The most important thing is just to keep your employees happy, and I think that's really awesome that they're doing that.
Sanchez says he hopes the practice spreads to more restaurants. The Durham Living Wage Project recognizes businesses that it says pays a living wage. There's about 20 restaurants and breweries on the list. In Durham, Gilad Malamed, CBS 17 News.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So I'm going to get you out of that screen. I do apologize for the delay there, but let me just give you the perspective here from the liner here. So according to this is a restaurant in Durham, North Carolina that says it's now paying the employees a fair wage, but it's passing the cost on to the consumers. And this is, again, Pizzeria Toro, who added a 20% gratuity called Fair Wage Service Fee to every bill for dine-in customers. And so I guess if you go there, or maybe you start to see this in some other places, I don't know if there are any North Carolinians out there, but if you go to a restaurant, your receipt might have, I guess you might see something like that, you know, that they are supporting or the fair wage service fee. And I'm not sure, maybe they'll even put it on the front of their, you know, upon entry into a restaurant that, you know, that you go in that, hey, we are doing the fair wage, participating in the fair wage service fee. So that means, you know, you're going to pay a little bit more for that night out. So according to this, Gary Brooks is a chef and one of the owners of Pizzeria Toro. And he said some prep cooks and dishwashers had to work the two jobs. But I don't think that this is anything new. I think people typically, when they're waitresses and waiters, or waiters and waitresses, I think they've, in this system, in our capitalist society, they've been accustomed to that. But to me, this is more consistent with more of a European business model or a European economy. I mean, I'm just saying from my own personal experience, you don't typically, for the lack of a better word, you don't typically tip. I don't typically tip. I mean, they kind of look at you a little bit funny, like if you're trying to give them extra money. Now, if you choose to leave more than that, then of course that's going to be on you, but it's not going to be something, you're not going to have that fee for the items and then a total and then, you know, and then a tip on the bottom. That's not the expectation there. Yeah, I mean, and it's not just European. I think even some other, like maybe even if you go to, you know, go to Costa Rica, you're not going to be doing, you know, they're not doing tips per se, not in food service. They're not. But I do think this is going to be another, you know, it's going to be a little bit of another blow to the industries. And of course the businesses will feel the brunt of it. And I think it's kind of, you know, sneaky that they're passing it on to the customers like that, especially if it's not something that they're letting the customers know right up front. I mean, and they may get you in there and say, here's a menu. Welcome to pizzeria.com. And, you know, and by the way, we're going to be adding 20% to the price. So, you know, welcome back, you know, so to me, it's another model, and it's not a traditional model. So I guess, you know, maybe you'll see it in your neck of the woods. Let me just read some of the comments here, because I don't want to go over the entire thing when you got the whole gist of it from the reporter, so to speak. So, but I'm just saying, you know, it's not, you know, traditional by any stretch. It's not what we normally do around here. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. I don't go back too far. And look, we have Derek C. Williams here. Hi, Derek C. Williams. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. And he says, bedtime here in the East, but popping in out of respect. Late to the party, but greetings to me. Thank you. Thanks so much for coming in. This is listening live on YouTube from Philadelphia. Thank you, Derek C. Williams. I really appreciate it. And he's okay, got some birthday wishes here. And Joseph Francis Bird says, I have worked in many restaurants. Prep cooks and dishwashers always work 2 jobs. It is always hard work. Yes, and many of the references that I'm making, what I've seen is, you know, I to me, this is more of a European restaurant model where you just, everything is built in. You know, you get espresso and, yeah, I don't know, some tapenade or whatever you want. You know, those are my crazy habits. But you get whatever you get, and then it's just right there. And if I decide to leave $5 more or $10 more, then, you know, they'll just accept it just the same. You know, it's not, but they're not expecting a tip. That's not what they're. If you say anything like that, they're going to kind of look at you. It might take a little while to process, but they're not going out of their way. Okay, and who else do we have here? Joseph Francis Burton says, no, tips are not customary in Europe. And Jermaine G says, sounds like a hidden agenda at play to me. And who else do we have? We have a comment here from Derek C. Williams says, Dan Crenshaw did speak in defense of personal liberty regarding folks coming to your door, asking questions, a video forthcoming. Thank you, Derek C. Williams. Appreciate it. And actually, I'm going to put this link out here just for kicks. Just for kicks. Okay. I mean, it's just as if, you know, many of these restaurants are struggling as it is. And I guess that's one way to try to, you know, offset whatever, you know, cost or whatever, you know, overhead. But I'm not sure how that's going to go. I guess it depends on where you are. And Joseph Francis Burton says that European restaurants are typically slow. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I will say this about, I think for European restaurants, people, especially like I think in Italy and especially in Italy, if people take their time, you know, with their dinner, they really do. And it's, to me, you know, when I've been to a place like that, for example, it's a later start to dinner anyway. It's a later start, and it's just, you know, it's much, you know, they savor it. They savor the time. They savor the meal. You know, it's a whole experience. It's totally different. So I don't know what's, you know, it's like we're building back better, right? Even at the table. So there you go. Let's see. Joseph Francis Burton says they are going out for the evening and in no hurry. Yes, I mean, I will tell you one example. Like I was even getting a little bit tired, I think, when I did go out for like to Italy, for instance. Like it was Amalfi or something, and it was a long. So I was like, my gosh, I'm so tired, and we're still here. We're still here. But you know, everybody, you know, the natives, they were having a good time, and you know, it's a good time. Thank you so much. Is that Derek C. Williams? Do I see you, Derek C. Williams? Okay.
Oh, Black Spring with Autumn. How are you?
Derek C. Williams, I'm hanging around. The clock's ticking, but I'm hanging around, and frustrating times. What can I say?
Yeah, sorry I don't have my avatar. I'm a little indisposed. Yeah, it's bedtime. I'm a little indisposed, but I did want to come in and say how you doing, just to touch base with you. And I saw that you made a comment on my last video earlier today. I just, you know, I'm always reading and researching, and just some of the stuff that I was reading and video that I saw today, it literally took the wind out of my sails, man. I'm just damn, that's all I can say. But I just say just continue to live your life, be positive and all that, but damn. And because of course they took my first channel, the stuff that even though all this stuff can be vetted, and you want to tell the world, but then I think about it. I said don't too much matter because folks do what they do. Sadly, in our case, the government has bigger guns. They got better logistics, better organization, and we just busy on TikTok and Instagram talking about people and stuff like that. And so we just gonna have to go through these birth pains, and we gonna have to hurt. But that just like the wind just got took out my sails today, man. And so when I did that video, I was on a bus, and it had just moved me to say something. That's probably one of the, aside from when I be talking when I was going live, that's probably the realest I ever said it. But we hurt. We are going to hurt very soon, very, very soon. We ain't talking about no years, neither.
No. I was tuned. I mean, I'm a little bit behind on your videos, but I think I'm at least up to date on the last 48 hours or something. But you're right. And the thing is, it's like I can't quite. There's so many things I'd like to get into, and I think that I don't want to. I try not to spend my time on too many kind of popular kind of things.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other things that we should be, there's so many imminent threats, you know what I mean? Like, and that to me, I would rank them like 1 and 2. Like there's like 1 or 2 things, but it's like everything else is a distraction. It's distracting you over here with this and a little bit over here with that. And not to mention the blackouts, the censorship, I self-censor, and that's exhausting to do.
Well, you just have to be creative on how you talk. I just look at the fact that I'm a name drop here, but starting with Alex Jones, Mike Adams, Rashid Buttar, Dr. Joseph Mercola, Kerry Made, all these people, and just most recently Sayed G, all these people, Dr. Peter McCullough, all these people who talking this real good stuff, real information. And the fact they took my channel, I feel like I'm in good company. That lets you know you got the truth on your side. That's really all that matters. But one thing you can never do is self-censor. So I would just say you just have to be creative on how you say stuff. But if you feel in your heart compelled to say something, you should. I ain't gonna never not say how I feel. I just don't come from that. And so I just want to say real quick before I step off, I'm just glad to, be acquainted with you and Felicia Lockhart, Snapzilla Gorilla. These is people, and my man down in Atlanta, Media Bear. These people that just speak the truth as they see it. We will disagree, and all that's fine, but we pulling in the same direction. The fact is that we are going to lose this country. Good night. We're going to lose this country, and a lot of black folks specifically, they gonna hurt first. So that's pretty much all I want to say. And thank you for having me on your channel. All right.
Without a doubt. Well, we just had Tyrant's Bane TDOA, aka Snapzilla. You're here. Are you here with us?
Yeah, he's down with us.
What up?
Yeah.
What up?
Yeah.
Thank you, Derek. Are you getting out? Are you bailing out?
Yeah, salute to Snapzilla Gorilla. I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna step aside for y'all, and because like I said, it's bedtime over here in the East for me. All right.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Derek C. Williams.
All right, y'all take care.
Yeah. What's going on?
It's going on. It's going. It's going. It's nonstop.
Yep.
And I'm getting into your videos like at the 11th hour, and even your live streams. But I saw your last one, and what have you got for us? I'll stop talking.
Well, they definitely putting the screws on. That's that for sure. Every angle. They're coming from every angle with this whole thing.
Neighbor's house.
Away from everybody else.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for coming on, and we are going to wrap this one up. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in on the Thursday Black Spring with Autumn, and thank you so much, Tyrant Spain, TOA, and Old School Media. Thank you guys both.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having us.
All right,
All
old school.
right, guys.
Talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Thanks so much, guys, for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yep.